you could please mute your line if you're not speaking, but just please don't mute my FSSA line. That makes us sad. We have to sign back in. If you wish to provide public comment, we have a list in the room, as well as when we get to the public comment time, you can shoot a message in the chat box or raise your hand. We'll make sure that you are captured for public comment. I will drive the agenda, but defer to Dr. Marshall as we move through the agenda. And just a reminder, I will be doing roll call voting, and you can do aye, nay, or abstain to get to there. So I think we are ready to start then. So Dr. Marshall, I will turn it over to you for the call to order and remarks of the chair.
Okay, no concerns from my part. Thanks. Do we do the minutes now or later?
We have opening comments from OMPP next.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Morning, everybody. No real comments this morning. Thanks for joining. I know there's a lot of technical issues going on. We have, the state has several, but miraculously team survives. So thanks everybody for joining, and that is all we have.
Thank you. That will take us to approval of the minutes.
All right. Are there any addition or corrections to the minutes? If not, may I have a motion for approve and second?
I'll move to approve. This is Carol.
I'll second. This is Kelly.
All right, it's been moved and second to approve the minutes as written. All those in favor say aye.
I got to do roll call.
Oh, that's right. That's right. My bad.
No worries. Dr. Marshall.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Dr. Up.
Aye.
Dr. Toma.
I wasn't present in June, so I should abstain.
Okay. And Dr. Treadwell.
Aye.
And Dr. Williams.
I was absent in June as well, so I abstain.
We have four. Yeah, so our motion should carry.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're good. Okay. Thank you for that. We will then move on to our PA stats updates. So for PA stats for the month of June, we did have a little bit less, which is pretty much what we expect to happen once we start reaching the summer months. So overall, we had 70% approved, 30% denied. We were a little over 17,500 in the approved and a little over 7,500 in the denied range. When we look at our point of sale quick check, we had 72% approved and 28% denied. Of those that were denied, 22% went to the call center for a further review, where 78% were approved, and then 22% were denied. In the manual PA side, we had 52% approved at around 892 and 48% denied at 833. If you look at our trending graph, you can see kind of that dip then that we have in June. We do see the stimulants drop off in June. During the summer months with kids, we see some of the other, like our antidepressants drop off a little bit. We have some other groups that drop off during the summer months where people don't need as many PAs during that time. So it's kind of what we expect to see during the summer, and we'll probably see July and August fairly consistent with August going up a little bit once kids go back to school. For our top 10 in the point of sale quick check, we have the stimulants, opioid overutilization, and antipsychotics, which have been in the top 3 for a very, very long time. And then on the manual PA side, we had early refills, still the #1 position, but significantly lower than where it was the past couple of months. And then MHQAC utilization and anti-migraine in the top 3 there. Any questions on PA stats before we go on to the opioid statistics? All right. So for the opioid statistics, we did have a decrease in May. Just slightly in the total opioid utilizers and slightly in the new utilizers as well. In the kiddos under 18, you can see we're hanging around that like 4.6 days-ish for the day supply, which is pretty good. You can see the kind of the breakdown, and we'll show some graphs, which I think are easier to see, but those that are exempt. So just a reminder, we don't have any utilizers in the greater than 500 that are PA exempted. So this graph shows those that are in the 90 and above. again, most of our utilizers are in the less than 90 MME. And then this shows our total utilizers. So again, the green is the total utilized or current utilizers that are over 18. The cranberry color is the new utilizers, and the purpley color is the less than 18. So you can see fairly steady really over the past several months, but down a little bit from May. This is our less than 90 MME trending. So you could see in March, it did we started to go up, and now we're coming back down just a little bit, but the less than 90 still being in kind of the higher range. And then when we look at all of the others, nothing really surprising here. Again, these are really small numbers. You can see there's been a little bit of a slight increase in the 250 to less than 500, which is what we would expect to see as we move those people who are in the higher doses down into that range. Any questions on the opioids?
Hey, Amanda, Chris Johnson here. Given that slide that you were showing the trends, the other previous one. No, the line graph. That one. At what point is there any process or threshold at which you would initiate maybe member outreach or provider outreach, education outreach, if we saw increases going considerably higher than anticipated? Because I see the big jumps. And at what point do you finally say we need to get more involved in educational outreach for the board?
So for this particular jump, these are the people that are in the less than 90 range.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually, we prefer people to be in this range, right? Than
Okay.
in the other ranges. So,
Next slide then would indicate that, and I guess
So
there's got it.
and we have small numbers, so there's a couple things that could be happening. One is we could have people that were in higher doses that have gone down to the less than 90, which is good, right? The other thing that we could potentially have happening is, we have elective surgeries or things like that that are happening. And so sometimes we'll see little increases here and there because again, our population is small. So when you change a little bit, we tend to see like bigger fluctuations, especially when we get into this graph that shows the 90 and above. So definitely in the 90 and above, we're not seeing anything, super alarming. And I will say everybody that's been in the higher doses as we've moved down, if they're not PA exempt, or even if they are, it has been a hand-holding experience across not just fee for service, but also the MCEs where we're reaching out directly to the doctors, getting with patients to make sure that we're not just stopping somebody's therapy abruptly so that we're, carrying through, tapering people down if we need to. And so it has been a very high touch effort.
So how do I balance the two slides? I guess that's what I'm looking at, because
It's hard to do because our less than 90, that's why we separate them, because the less than 90 has so many more people. So it's really just the less than 90 I kind of take as more like when we have new utilizers, we tend to see this go up. Like, so when our new utilizers go up, we tend to see the less than 90 go up more. Whereas this chart tends to be more of our steady current utilizers. So it's hard to do a full compare. And again, even just looking at our data, we're much smaller than the rest of the group. So it's also hard to look at that. And then to further compound on that factor is we know we have a lot of patients paying cash that we don't have insight into.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the explanation.
Any other questions? All right. That will turn us over then to the managed care pharmacy updates. I don't believe they have any today, but I'm getting a head shake of no, and I don't hear anybody on the phone jumping in very quickly, so I think we're good there. And we have several new drugs to discuss today. So I'm going to go through these and then we can take a vote at the end, and then certainly if you have any questions as we go through, we can address those. So we are adding a new PA or recommending adding a new PA around the complement inhibitors. So we have several products there. So Empaveli being the first one, looking for a diagnosis of paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria, or PNH, as confirmed by high sensitivity flow cytometry. They need to be 18 years of age or older, prescribed by or in consultation with a hematologist. And then they need to have prescriber attestation that they don't have any unresolved serious infections caused by the group listed there. They need to be enrolled in the REMS program, which is also going to validate that the member doesn't have any unresolved infections, because that's why they have the REMS program in place is around that. And then they won't be using it in combination with another complement inhibitor. And then we have the dosing not exceeding the 1,080 milligrams twice weekly or 40 mils per week. And then reauthorization criteria is history of use of the agent. And then again, kind of the same attestations that they're still in the REMS program, they don't have any new infections. And they continue to show positive clinical response to Empaveli through chart documentation. And again, same dosing. There is a dose of every 3 days that will be considered in members with lactate dehydrogenase more than 2 times the upper limit. Fabhalta is another product for PNH. So again, looking for the diagnoses, members 18 years of age and older. Basically, you can almost just do a control copy here for everything that we just talked about with Empaveli, but now we're talking about Fabhalta. So again, they need to be enrolled in the REMS program, shouldn't be used in combination with others, and then the dose does not exceed 200 milligrams twice weekly, twice daily, sorry. And then same reauthorization criteria are similar as the other. Then Soliris has a few other indications. So we do have a diagnosis of atypical hemolytic uremic syndrome needing complement mediated thrombotic microangiopathy, and all of the following of either 2 months of age and older. Again, consultation with the hematologist. In this case, we have or nephrologist. And then they have an induction dose followed by a maintenance dose that I've listed there for you. There's also a diagnosis of generalized myasthenia gravis with positive anti-acetylcholine receptor antibodies, and they need to be 18 years of age or older, consultation or a neurologist prescribed by. And then we have dosing there as well, again, induction and maintenance dosing. And then there's also diagnosis of neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder with positive anti-aquaporin 4 antibodies. And then again, 18 years of age or older, prescribed by or in consultation with a neurologist. And then the induction and maintenance dosing listed. And then lastly, actually, I think it's not last, I think there's one more, diagnosis of paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria. And then the same 18 years of age or older, consultation with the hematologist, and then the same dosing, induction, and maintenance listed there for you. And for this particular group here, we would be looking for a previous trial and failure of Ultomiris as supported by claims history or chart documentation or medical justification for Soliris. And then prescriber attests that they don't have any serious infections. They're enrolled in the Soliris REMS program and not using with another complement inhibitor. And then they also do not have a diagnosis of Shiga toxin E. coli associated hemolytic uremic syndrome. That's a lot. And then reauthorization is there for you. And again, really looking to make sure they don't have any of the infections again, that the doctor is validating that. And they continue to show positive response, and then the dosing. All right. Bear with me, we're continuing onward. All right, so Ultomiris, again, similar diagnoses that we just saw in Soliris. So diagnosis of atypical hemolytic uremic syndrome, needing complement mediated thrombotic microangiopathy, 1 month of age and older here, and then prescribed by or in consultation with the hematologist or nephrologist. We also have the generalized myasthenia gravis indication, 18 years of older, and consultation or prescribed by a neurologist. Again, we have the same diagnosis of neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder, 18 years of age or older, prescribed by or in consultation with a neurologist. Then we also have the diagnosis of PNH, and then this is 1 month of age or older and prescribed by or in consultation with the hematologist. There is a loading dose of a single dose of 3,000 milligrams and then a maintenance dose every 8 weeks. Again, same serious infection issues. So there is a REMS program. They need to attest that they don't have that. They're not using in combination with another complement inhibitor, and then saying that they don't have that diagnosis of the Shiga toxin E. coli associated hemolytic uremic syndrome. Reauthorization criteria is similar to the others. Again, prescribers attesting they don't have any of those serious infections again, and that their maintenance dose is not exceeding the 3,600 milligrams every 8 weeks. That takes us through the complement inhibitors. Any questions on that before I get to move on to our birch tree? All right. So Filisubez is our birch tree product, which is kind of fun, I think, for epidermolysis bullosa. So we're looking at members that are 6 months of age or older, diagnosis of dystrophic or junctional epidermolysis bullosa, and they should be utilizing one of these genetic analyses or skin biopsies to determine that. The member should have at least one open wound with both of the following: that the wound has been present for at least 21 days and the wound is 10 centimeters to 50 centimeters centimeters squared in size. This will be prescribed by or in consultation with a dermatologist or wound care specialist with expertise in the management of Deborgem. And if you haven't seen these before and you have a weak stomach, don't Google it. It's pretty horrific and very painful for these patients. The prescriber attests that the member doesn't have any current evidence or history of squamous cell carcinoma in the area that they're going to undergo treatment. They do not have any evidence of active infection in the area that they're going to undergo treatment. They are not currently receiving chemotherapy or immunotherapy. The member has not received a skin graft in the past 3 months, and the member will not be using Filisubez with Vyjuvek. And then the requested quantity does not exceed 19 tubes every 30 days. So in the reauth, very similar to like what we've seen in the others, that the member continues to have wounds secondary to Deborgem, and then they did receive clinical benefit from receiving the product. And then again, all the same attestations that we had before and same quantity limit. Any questions on the epidermolysis bullosa birch tree? All right, we have a new muscular dystrophy agents, Dubizat, and requiring to meet diagnosis of Duchenne muscular dystrophy confirmed by genetic testing. They need to be 6 years of age or older. We're having them have a trial and failure of at least 90 days of therapy with a Gabri or Emplaza, or that the prescriber has provided some medical valid justification for use of Dubizat. The requested dose does not exceed 53.2 milligrams twice daily. And then the prescriber attests that the member is ambulatory prior to the initiation of therapy. They've obtained a baseline platelet count and triglycerides. Baseline platelet count should be 150 times 10 to the 9th liters or greater. And then prescriber will continue to monitor platelet count and triglycerides and adjust dosing per the prescribing information as needed. And then for reauth, again, history of the agent, documentation supporting improvement or stabilization of their disease. And then again, the requested dose does not exceed. Any questions on any of the other new drugs? I know that was a lot of very large words for me. All right, if no questions, if I could have a motion in a second, please.
Move to approve. This is Pat.
This is Kelly. I'll second.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion in a second. Dr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. Ah,
Aye.
Dr. Toma,
Aye.
Dr. Treadwell,
Aye.
and Dr. Williams.
Aye.
All right, we have all ayes, so that motion will carry. Do we have any liaisons with other boards today that wish to provide any comments? All right, I am hearing and seeing none. We have no public comment signed up in the room. Do we have any public comment online? You can either shoot a message in the chat box, raise your hand. Start speaking, anything about works. I am hearing and seeing none, so no public comment there. Any old business that anybody has? Oh, we do have public. We do have public comment. So let's go back to public comment. It looks like I've got Miriam has public comment from Sarepta.
Hello. Yes, this is Miriam.
Yes, please go ahead and proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. And I assume this is the only chance for public comment, right? It's not different in new and old business.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. I will go ahead. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Miriam, Director of Medical Managed Care at Sarepta Therapeutics. I am addressing the committee regarding Elevidys. Oh, apologies. An AAV-based gene therapy, which is indicated for patients at least 4 years of age with a confirmed mutation in the DMD gene via standard FDA approval in ambulatory patients and under accelerated approval for non-ambulatory patients. The accelerated approval for non-ambulatory patients is based on expression of Elevidys microdystrophin, and continued approval may be contingent upon verification, description of clinical benefit in the confirmatory trial ENVISION, which has commenced enrollment. Please refer to the USPI for full details regarding contraindications, warning, precautions, adverse events, and monitoring. The efficacy section of Elevidys USPI describes 3 ongoing studies with a total of 214 male patients with DMD. Today, I will focus on information from studies 2 and 3, as that information is foundational to the label expansion. Cohorts 1, 2, 4, and 5A of study 2 enrolled 40 ambulatory patients ages 3 to 12 years. Cohorts 3 and 5B include 8 non-ambulatory patients ages 10 to 20 years. Microdystrophin expression is measured by change from baseline in Western blot, ranged from 40 to 51%, and was consistent across ambulatory and non-ambulatory patients. Treatment with Elevidys did not reach statistical significance compared with placebo in the primary efficacy endpoint of change in NSAA over 52 weeks in the confirmatory EMBARK trial, which is study 3 in the USPI. However, the EMBARK results did demonstrate nominally significant and clinically relevant impact on disease progression across multiple key secondary endpoints. The statistically significant global test supported the totality of evidence of treatment benefit with Elevidys compared with placebo. Safety data from the EMBARK trial revealed no new safety signals. Thank you for the time, and I am available today to answer any questions.
Any questions for Miriam? All right, thank you very much. Before we get into new business, I am going to, we have Brian Musial is going to present some data for the managed care groups. So I'm gonna switch that over here really quick and let Brian take over.
Hey, Amanda, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Brian.
All right, great. So we have the combined PA statistics for the MCEs. We just wanted to share these with the group. So this is the normalized PA and approval rate. You can clearly see here as you look at the trends on the MCEs that go back to October, where the grace period ended for the SUPDL implementation, how that's declined and gone basically back to a normal stance, so sort of back to the pre-SUPDL levels. That trend has improved pretty well. Next slide, please. And this is the same look at the HCC population. You don't see quite as dramatic a change. I don't think there was as much change in this actual population as there were in some of the others, but you do see that sort of slow trend coming back after October, just like you saw with the HIP population. And then The next one is, the next slide is the Hoosier HealthWise population. Again, same trend. The one thing I do like to point out with this particular slide is the scale difference on the left-hand side, right? The PAs per thousand, you're talking about less than 9 per thousand, whereas on the HIP and Hoosier HealthWise, you've got about 60 and 120. So the scales are significantly different, but the trends are consistent. It continues to improve and returns back to pre-SUPDL levels as the MCEs manage through all those inquiries. Next slide, please. And this is the opiates. So normalized opiate claims and units. This is the HIP population. Not much change here. It's been pretty consistent across all the MCEs, and you don't see much difference in the units per script either per thousand. And the next slide is, next slide, please. There we go. The HCC population, again, same trend, similar decline. So this is sort of consistent with what we're doing across the MCEs to try to push down the MME levels. So you see that in all three. And then the last one is the children. Again, very, very small numbers. So you do see that sort of declining trend, but really, really small numbers. So a small fluctuation could make this graph look a little goofy. So any questions about those?
Hey, Brian, this is Chris. Looking at the opioid claims across the various plans, is there a reason where Anthem is a significant outlier in those, like slide 4 and 5?
If you go back, I suspect, Chris, is just basically volume driven. So they have the largest number of members.
But it's normalized, right, to member months?
Oh, yep, you're right.
So
Yeah.
Anthem has historically always landed a little bit higher. The long-standing thought is that we sometimes have a little bit more of the sicker population being kind of the hometown brand, well recognized. So when member selection comes up, they believe that, it's a trusted brand. And so if they have chronic health conditions, that they come the direction of Anthem. So we get many members with that long-standing health conditions. We do follow the same edits and criteria that all of the other managed care organizations, as well as fee for service, follow. So this is a long-standing trend. We see very little fluctuation, similar to the other MCEs.
Any other questions for Brian or anybody at the managed care? Right, thanks, Brian.
All right, thank you.
All right, I know we briefly kind of switched over to public comment. So any old business? I don't think there was any, but just want to make sure. All right, we will move us into new business then. So just a couple of updates here. So on the Elevidus PA, updating the age criteria to member is 4 years of age or older based on their indication. In the epidermolysis bullosa agents, the Vyjuvek, updating their exclusion criteria for a member must not have any of the following to prescribe or attest to all of the following. And then within the prescriber attestation, member will not be using Vyjuvek with Filsubez, was added to both the initial and reauthorization criteria. And then on the muscular dystrophy agents PA, Agamree, adding the following to step therapy: that member has previous trial and failure of at least 90 days of therapy with Emflaza, or prescriber has provided medical justification for use of Agamree over Emflaza. And then lastly, in new business, our preferred brand drug list updates. So additions to the preferred brand drug list would be Zavesca capsules, and then removals are the Lialda, Renvela, and Saffris tabs. And then we have some vaccine updates. So for non-VFC pharmacies, Capvaxive, adding an age limit of 19 years of age and older, and a quantity limit of 1 dose per lifetime. And then Fluzone HD, updating the minimum age to 65 years. Flublok, updating minimum age to 18 years. Fluad, updating minimum age to 65. Flumist, maximum age to 49. And Resvia, we're not really sure what they were going for there when they put those two consonants together. But adding an age limit of 6 years and older, and adding a quantity limit of 1 dose per lifetime. And then if our VFC vaccines, which is an FYI only, we have the Afluria removing from coverage as it's no longer manufactured. And then the Afluria Fluarix, Flucelvax, Flulavil, Fluzone, there's too many, I don't do well with FLs together, apparently updating the minimum age to 6 months. Capvaxive, add an age limit of 19 years of age and older, and a quantity limit of 1 dose per lifetime. The Fluzone, minimum age to 65 years. Flublok, update minimum age to 18. Fluad, update minimum age to 65. Flumist, update minimum age to 2 years and maximum age to 49 years. And then our favorite, then Resvia, adding an age limit of 60 years and older, and the quantity limit of 1 dose per lifetime. Any questions on any of the new business? Please don't make me combine an FL together. It doesn't work. Any, if no questions or concerns, if I could have a motion in a second, please. Bless you.
This is Carol. I move to approve.
Don't show me.
This is Pat. Second.
All right, I have a motion in a second. So Dr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. Rob,
Aye.
Dr. Temple,
Aye.
Dr. Treadwell,
Aye.
and Dr. Williams.
Aye.
All right, we have all ayes, so that motion will carry. Thank you. I know that was a lot to go through. Any other new business that anybody on the board has to discuss today? All right, I'm hearing and seeing none. So Dr. Marshall, that takes us to the last item on the agenda.
All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Adjourned.
Good weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
Right.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye.